What if I told you you can create gorgeous harmonies on guitar through simple bar chord shapes? Now, to be clear, you're not going to be playing a single bar chord in this video, but we will be unlocking their hidden power through 10th harmony. In the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how you can change your entire approach to playing guitar with this particular method. Before we get into it, if you could like this video right now, I'd really appreciate it. It'll push it out there into the world of YouTube. And if you like the content I put out each week, then I'd really appreciate your subscription to the channel if you haven't already subscribed. Below this video in the description, there is a link to a free workshop that I did on backing a singer on guitar and all the cool things that you can do to make an interesting guitar part while accompanying a singer. So that is yours for free if you like. All right, let's get into it. So 10th harmony, we're going to unlock this particular harmony on guitar through the root 6 and root 5 bar chords. These are shapes that if you already know them will help anchor this harmony down on the fretboard, making it easy to find. So if I reference a root 6 major bar chord as a C here at the 8th position, inside of that I have this little shape that gives me a major 10th harmony. Okay, I pull out the root note C and then I've got an E note an octave higher. Okay, so it's in the second octave of the chord or the scale associated with the chord. And if I play those two notes together, and you can see the shape on the screen here, that gives me a 10th harmony. And that's easy to find because it's part of a shape we already know. We've got a reference point. So if I wanted to play the 10th harmony to match a G chord, I'd just go down here. And I pull out the same shape from the root 6 G major. It's as simple as that. If I want to get the minor 10th to associate with a minor chord, then there's my minor shape, C minor, back here at the 8th position, and there's my minor 10th harmony there. Simply taking that third and flatting it, because of course that's what we do to convert a major to minor chord. Okay, and that would be C minor. And down here, G minor, or A minor. So I'm not playing the bar chord shape, I'm just using it as a reference to find these harmonies. This is the easiest way to find them if you know your bar chord shapes. And then we've got root 5. So we've got the equivalent sort of shapes to associate or relate to root 5. So here's C root 5 bar chord, here's the 10th pulled out. So we've got the root note C and then up an octave to the third E, and we get the distance of a 10th. Okay. And if we want to get the minor equivalent, we just flat that third. And we can see how this shape relates to the root 5 minor bar chord. Okay, the 10th harmony, you don't really need to understand it in and out to use it. We're going to use it today. But if you're sitting there, and I'm sure some of you are going, well, what is a 10th? What's he mean by a 10th? If I come back to this shape here, all we mean is that there's 10 notes in the key between this and this one, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's the 10th harmony. Okay, that's in a nutshell what a 10th harmony is. So one simple way to use 10th harmony on guitar is to simply follow the chords of a progression. So if I have a chord progression in the key of C, it's going to go from C to A minor to G to F. I can use any of those 10th harmony shapes to follow the chord progression. I've just got to make sure it corresponds with the current chord happening. So the first chord is C. It doesn't matter where it's being played on the guitar. We just reference the C bar chord to find that 10th harmony shape to play over the top of that chord as it occurs in the progression. The next chord was A minor, so I would go down to where A minor bar chord is and play the equivalent 10th harmony relating to that chord shape. Then it went to G, so bring it down here to G, back to the major form, and F. So it gives us, it implies the chords of the progression. C, A minor, and F. Now we could do that with the harmony relating to the root 5 shape. There's our C. For A minor we might go up and then to G and to F, okay? Or we could do some sort of combination to keep it more in an area of the fretboard. So maybe we go to C, then the root 6 10th harmony for A minor, G and F. Or perhaps we go to root 6 for the C and then use root 5 10th harmony for A minor, G and F. Now it sounds a little thin on its own, of course. And if you were to do that, you wouldn't want to do it for too long. But the idea is you can do this on top of someone strumming chords and create a secondary part that sounds really cool. So let me demonstrate that for you. If I get a track going here, so this is just our chord progression to G. And if I play the 10th harmony on top, we get this. Creates a really nice second part. This sits on top. It can be subtle, but it helps build a sound. Or I could go to the root 5. Right, you get the idea. I could also just hit the notes a few more times or separate them. Okay, so that's one way that you can use this 10th harmony. There's more and we're going to get to it, but that in itself can create a really nice secondary part and make something sound bigger rather than just joining the other guitar player playing the chords. Now, if we can do that for a single chord, we can do that for all the chords in a particular key with the 10th harmony. So what I mean is in the key of C, we have a C major chord, we have a D minor chord, we have an E minor chord, we have an F major chord, a G, and an A minor. We have the lesser used, I suppose, diminished chord back to our C. So just like extracting the 10th harmony out of the C, I can extract it out of D minor as well. And E minor, down to F major, G, A minor, B diminished, it lives inside that chord as well, back to our C. So we can actually harmonize the C major scale using 10th harmony. So if I start it from the first available chord to me as a bar chord form in the key of C using root 6, it's going to be F. So I could go from F and just harmonize up. Here's my 1 chord, here's my 2, my 3, I could keep going up, right? And you can see the diagram on the screen here that shows you how that looks on the fretboard. And you can see the patterns, or you get familiar with the patterns. We've got the root chord here, or the root harmony, C, and then you've got 2 minor shapes above it and 2 minor shapes below it. It's an easy way to remember. And then you've got 2 major shapes, so they almost work in pairs. Except when you get to the 1, it's only one of the harmony, the major shapes at least, and then into the minor. So what does this mean? This means you can create movement over a static chord. So if someone's sitting there playing a C chord, you might play C, something like that, where you go up, down, and back. It's just playing a little line like you would from the C major scale over a C chord, but you're using 10th harmony. And you could go through and, here's your D minor, you could play 2 above, 1 below. Just getting familiar with the surroundings within the context of the key in which you're playing. If you're down here on an F, you could come into it from the E minor in an open position. Okay, so it's just creating this movement, but we're going to stay true to the key. I played a couple of wrong ones there. That should be G major, A minor. We're going to stay true to the key. As soon as you play like A major, it's not going to sound right because A major is not in the key of C. So if we take the chord progression from earlier, C, what was it? C, A minor, G to F. Before I had just the root harmony relating to the chord, right? So down to, what was A minor, sorry. C to A minor to G to F. Now I can sort of fill in the gaps, if you like, while the chord is just staying static. So while C's happening, I can play C, and I can step down to A minor, and then step up into G, and perhaps from below into F, and back to C. So when I got to that F, I went to the G, A minor, B diminished, back to C, all while the G chord is happening in the particular chord progression. So let me show you how that sounds with the chord progression. So we've got C, A minor, G, and to F. Okay, so I'm going on my C, down to my A minor, G, Okay? It's just one way we could do it. Okay? Lots of things you can do now that you can create kind of like an inner movement to the chord progression, if you like. So that then opens up way more possibilities with your 10th harmony. Now, another way you can use 10th harmony to get a bigger sound, so it sounds all right just on its own without any chord progression going behind you, is to add droning open strings. So if I take this root 6 10th harmony relating to the root 6 major bar chord form, I can pluck the notes out of that harmony, but I can also include open strings on top. They're part of the key. Even if they're not, sometimes you get some really cool dissonances that sound really great. But in this case, the B and E open strings are part of C major, so it's going to work. And if we're looking at the chord progression of that we used before, C, A minor, G, F, then you could do this on C, you could do this on the A minor, you could do this on G, and of course F. And those notes on top stay constant, so you get some really cool, as I said, dissonances and extensions to your chords that you don't have to know anything about. You just add these open strings and they sound great. So maybe you do something like this. Right, so we got C, just playing a little pattern involving those opens. And you can hear how cool that sounds, right? We could do the same thing with the root 5 forms. So the root 5 10th harmony for C, we could pick a little pattern on that. We might go to A root 6, so let's mix it up. Then our G, and down to F. So similar little pattern, C, A minor, G, and to F. Right, and back to C. So in that case, with the root 5 10th harmony form, you had the open G become exposed, and you could use that because it's part of the key, and you get some really nice sounds. So that alone really sounds great, and you could play that on top of someone playing the basic chords, and it could work really well too. So if you want to check out some songs that use 10th harmony, I'm sure you're going to start to recognize it in songs now as you work with it yourself. But a very well-known song using 10th harmony is Scar Tissue by Chili Peppers. Right? So that's using 10th harmony to outline the chord progression, some inner movement there to approach. So it's like an F chord, that's from the root 5 to the root 6 D minor form, and it's using the one below to step into it. So another example is Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. So I think it's capoed 2nd fret, but we'll play without the capo. We've got C, G, and there's your 10th harmony. C, G. Okay, and what's happening, one guitar would be playing C to G, E minor, D. And where's that E minor and D happen? You're playing 10th harmony from the root 5 E minor form to the D root 5 major form. So C and then 10th harmony. Okay, so a good example, and a very famous one, Blackbird, right? That whole song is almost entirely 10th harmony as it works its way through the progression. Beautiful song. Most of these, almost all, are all 10th harmony. So that's another great example of a song using 10th harmony. If you like this video, then you'll love this free workshop called Dynamic and Compelling Ways for Arranging Music to Accompany a Singer on One Guitar. In it, I teach and train effective ways to create amazing sounding arrangements for a single guitar and vocal. So whether you're someone who would like to be able to create the perfect arrangement of a song, or a singer-songwriter who would like to be able to accompany themselves on guitar, or a guitar player who would simply like to have more ways to express themselves on the instrument, then this workshop is for you. Better yet, I have an actual singer on hand throughout the workshop to demonstrate all the concepts covered so you can hear just how effective they are. Everything is put to the test. No theorizing, just practical ways to create arrangements of songs that sound amazing. Plus, you'll also receive a PDF booklet that complements the class, offering tools and concepts you can use as well as worksheets for your arrangements. So click the link in the description below this video and download your free video workshop, Dynamic and Compelling Ways for Arranging Music to Accompany a Singer on One Guitar. You'll have it in your inbox within minutes. Let me know in the comments what acoustic guitar topics you'd like to see covered in future videos. I do read the comments and I take a lot of the suggestions on board, and many of them do become future videos on the channel. So if you want to see something, don't be shy, drop us a line. I would love to hear from you. If you like this video, I'd really appreciate it. And if you haven't already and you like the content I release each week, I'd really appreciate your subscription to the channel as well. This is Simon Candy from acousticguitarlessonsonline.net. Thank you so much for sticking around and checking out this video. I really do appreciate it, and I'll look forward to seeing you in the next one.